I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delving into the gripping world of No Good Deed. It is a contemporary thriller by Francis Bruneault. In the heart of danger and deceit, we meet Matt Pearson, Dana, and the Pearson Group, who dedicate their lives to protecting others at great personal risk. When a man revered for his philanthropy finds himself and his family under a terror campaign, he seeks help from the Pearson Group, setting off a chain of events that exposes the darkest facets of human nature. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Francis, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
When I hear of no good deed, I always think of the expression, no good deed goes unpunished. Is that why you named it that?
Exactly. That's the idea behind the whole book.
Let's give the folks at home an overview of what the book's about.
Yeah, really. Sure. It's about the Pearson Group, who's been hired by the De LaCroix family to protect them after they've received a threat from somebody they don't know, and try to set up a protection environment for them. And as the investigation starts behind who's behind this story, the Pearson Group finds themselves in a rock and a hard place to make sure that they're not the next target of those terrorists. It evolves into a family helping another family. Really, that's what this is about.
The Pearson Group feels very real from reading your book. Are there organizations like it out there? Did you do some kind of research? Was it pure imagination? Tell us a little bit about how you came up with the Pearson Group.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I found some companies that do specialize in protecting rich people and VIPs like this. I don't know that they go that far into their into their role, but they do exist. Yes.
Exactly. Tell us a little bit about the character of the philanthropist, LaCroix.
Yeah.
He's both successful and vulnerable. Tell us about creating his character and why you decided to choose somebody who had both weaknesses and strengths, such as he.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable position for him because he's usually in control as the CEO of a company, as the patriarch of his family. Now he's facing a threat and he doesn't know how to deal with it, and he's very, like you said, vulnerable, and he's also very sad to see that his whole family is also being brought into this mix. But he's smart enough to figure out when the cops tell him that they can't help to go seek help somewhere else and not just be a victim. That's probably his biggest strength, and that's how the character evolved as the book was being put together. But it's really I think it's everybody's situation at one point in their lives where they're not in control, where they have to seek help and to be good enough to know that you can't do it on your own and get somebody else's help.
Absolutely. The novel works its way through the dark side of human nature. Tell us about balancing this dark side while maintaining a atmosphere of hope within the book, an environment of hope.
I think it comes from the characters themselves. There's really one character that's really dark. You can't find any light in him. He's been raised that way. He's been in environments that have been very violent, and that's how he treats everyone around him. That's really the dark side. And I tried to bring the Pearson Group, who's really all in all, they seem perfect on the surface. Just to bring that light above and to be able to counteract the dark side of those characters.
Now, I could see the Pearson Group as a series of books. You just change out the characters, change out the situation, the danger. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, the idea was basically to do a trilogy to start with. The second book is in progress. We'll see how it comes out.
All right. What's the working title so far of the second book?
The second book working title is The Long Game.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Now, have you envisioned No Good Deed as a movie or a series, perhaps?
Oh God, you're ahead of me on that one. Let's try to make this a success as a book, and
Yeah.
we'll see. But if you read the book, you'll see that it's very structured as probably a film or a TV
Mm.
series because it's short sequences, short chapters, so things are moving, like you said, beginning very fast paced, very involved in the story.
Exactly. Yep. I think it'd be a perfect film for those very reasons that's so quickly paced. And each little chapter could make a terrific scene, building and building the suspense throughout. Tell us what it was like writing this book. Was this the first time you tried your hand at writing a book?
It's been a dream for me to write a book for many years, and I've never, I wouldn't say I've never had the time. I've never taken the time probably to write the book. But when COVID happened, I found myself with a little bit of free time, and that's how it started. It really was just a couple of chapters that I threw on a page, and I wasn't going to go anywhere until I had my wife read it, and she said, "You can't leave it there. It's got to go. It's got to go to the end. I want to know how it finishes."
Great. Well, she was a good coach, no doubt. Is she helping you with writing book two?
We're bouncing ideas as we speak. Yes.
Sounds great. What's your writing habit? Do you tend to write in the morning? Do you tend to write in the evening? When do you write?
Whenever I find time, usually on weekends, vacation is a good
Mhm.
time. I have another daytime job that takes a lot of time out of my schedule, but usually vacation weekends are probably my preferred period, and it's hard to put myself and say, "Oh, I'm going to write from 8 to 4 or something like this."
Right.
That's too much pressure for me. It has to come naturally.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you're not writing, what are you doing to keep the lights on?
I'm an IT professional. I've been a project manager for the last 15 years, but I've been in the IT industry for 35 years. So.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. And are you fully remote now since the pandemic?
We're back to remote and on site, depending on the days and what the requirements are. Yes.
Gotcha. Tell me a little bit more about your writing career. So you're picturing the Pearson Group as a trilogy or a trilogy. So you're working on book two. There'll probably be a book three.
Right.
Does anything else float around in your head right now? Like, hey, I'd like to explore that. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's
Oh,
nautical or
totally. I always have ideas of uh, I'll be riding riding my bike on the street or walking and I see something and I kind of have this idea behind how this could turn into a story. Um, uh, I've got plenty of other sources that I'm writing down in a notebook somewhere. Don't know if it'll turn into anything at
Mhm.
any point in time, but that's always a source of inspiration after that.
Does your experience as an IT professional come into play as a writer?
In No Good Deed, yes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of technology. There's maybe even too much for some people. But the second one, I'm trying to tone it down a little bit, try to go back to a more traditional reading. Actually, it's a point of being uncomfortable for the team because there's so much using technology in the second book where they can't use it. It's actually
Right.
part of the story.
Right. Well, wonderful. It makes it very 2024 when there's a lot of technology in it, as a matter of fact. So, love it or hate it, we live in a techno world where this rules our lives. So, it's always a good idea to have a little high-tech thrill within your thriller. The name of the book is No Good Deed. It is written by Francis Bruneault. He leaves us pondering the complexities of human nature, the courage to protect, and the quest for truth amidst chaos. Thank you so much for joining us here today, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.